Hey, happy Wine Wednesday, a busy one. Today we're talking about the Pan-Canadian Masterclass. We're talking about the crafted in BC. And we're also going to talk about what's in my glass. So, you know what? We have two special guests. Stay tuned. We're coming right back.
Cheers. Hello.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, everyone across the country, Mira Boucher. Hey,
Hello,
see,
Boucher.
she looks
And
happy. Here you
I'm
go.
just
There's
showing
a
people how many glasses I got in front of here. I'm so glad you numbered them. Thank you.
plethora of wine in front of us today because it's
Plethora.
Wednesday. It's time to wind down and start. It's time to pour a glass of Canadian wines in your glass. Sit back and listen to us because we have a lot to talk about. So, how you doing, Mira?
Pretty awesome because you know what? I started to smell these wines that are in front of us. And the first one in particular, the one that is your blind tasting glass, it's so fun on the nose that it just put me in a totally different mood. I love it.
You know what I forgot?
What?
I forgot a spit cup. Now
I'll bring
that's
you
ain't
one.
gonna go very
Okay.
well.
I
Maybe I
will
can
bring you
ask one of
one.
the kids. How about I ask one of the kids?
Sure.
Hey Jay, I need your help. There you go. I'm gonna have one of our awesome runner. Who will help him to get us. A Can you please get me a spit cup downstairs, please? Thank you so much.
There you go.
There you
And
go.
Dale has decided it is rosé season. I agree, Dale. So he's been out on the patio having a 2020 Post Malone Maison number 9. Sounds awesome. How was it?
I can't see the whole thing. Like, yeah, there's something with our system now. In the last 3 weeks, I can't see the comments because there's a big icon where the comments are. It says share your referral link.
Yeah,
Where
yeah. We'll have to figure out how you can
So
change that.
yeah, so you
So
have to tell me the comments again today.
I just did. So I was saying that Dale has declared it's rosé season and just
Okay,
opened his oldest rosé, a 2020 Post Malone Maison number 9.
there's no
Pretty fun.
comment. I can find. Can you please get one? I think we're live on the show, so thank you. Okay, that's awesome. Oh yeah, rosé season. I mean, and it tags very well with what we're gonna do next week because we have two different rosés coming next week. And what we've tasted over the weekend, a bunch of very fun rosé. So today, Mira, we have a pack show. I would say probably like usual, but yeah, like action pack. We have two guests coming in. I'm tasting wines also for the Pan Canadian. We're gonna rate and score and tasting notes on our host wine for the Pan Canadian. So I have in my glass Shoe and Staff, the Chestnut Tree Cabernet Franc 2018 vintage. It's right in there. And I can't wait. So you know what? I NOVino it. Yours and mine. Here you go. There is the proof. My NOVino is right in there. And
Yeah, because
it's
a lot of times with these shows, we don't have time to decant. Just so like a lot of you guys might not have time to decant a wine on a Wednesday night. So there you
so
go.
we're gonna taste that. I also have some Trail Estate Chardonnay. You got it. I'm just about to select which of the Chardonnay. Thank you, Jay. From Trail Estate, Prince Edward County, we're gonna put in the lineup at the Pan Canadian. I have the 2021 Chardonnay du Nord, the 2021 Chardonnay du Sud. This is the one that you have in front of you, Mira. The
Ah.
The one with the
S and the
M,
N.
the S and the N. You got that right. You got that right. Sophisticated, eh?
Yeah,
Wow.
I love it.
Because we already
Woo!
last week,
My
last.
God, the north on the nose. Have you
I
smelled it
know,
yet?
but I'm also considering the 2022 Cold Creek.
Is that the R on my glass?
No, the R, it's the Tantalus Riesling from Grimsby
I was gonna
Hillside.
say it's
So
extremely floral for a
yeah,
spring.
no. The Cold Creek Chardonnay, it's the one we tasted last weekend.
Ah, it
The
was very good.
2022. I'm also considering this one. So we'll see tonight. We're gonna taste these two because last weekend, we selected the Garnet Valley Ranch Chardonnay 2022. This has been selected. I gave it a 92 plus point, leaning towards 93. I selected for a few reasons because I really wanted to talk about the Garnet Valley. I really wanted to include one of of the Chardonnay from the region in Garnet Valley Ranch. Allowed me to do that at a very high quality. So I'm super thrilled for that. We're gonna have. I spoke with Ilya Senchuk, and we're gonna have a leading post Chardonnay. So Garnet Valley Ranch,
In Summerland, BC.
leading post from Lincoln Lake Shore, and
Ontario.
Trail Estate from Prince Edward County. This is the trio of Chardonnay that we've selected. And I also can confirm that we have a trio of Syrah selected as well. So we're gonna have a Syrah from the Similkameen Valley in BC from Clos du Soleil. We'll have a Syrah from Lake Erie North Shore with Mouchadri Vineyard, and the new addition. It's from Niagara on the Lake. We're gonna have Stratus Syrah part of the lineup as well. So the 2020 vintage. So two grape varietals with three wines in the lineup. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Now,
Those of you who were at one of the last two Pan-Canadian Masterclasses, you'll know that this is a little bit different because the last two, I think we were pretty intentional to not have the same varietal at all, right? It was all different varietals. And this time, it's pretty fun because we'll be able to start comparing completely different regions based on the same varietal. I think it's great.
So yeah, because I went from sub-region specific. That's why we were like doing like one sub-region from all over the country in one grape varietals. And now I really want to focus on grape varietals coming from different sub-region. So I'm kind of flipping the script here. So it should be a lot of fun to experience the same grape varietals alongside different terroirs. So I can't wait to experience that concept.
Very cool. Very cool. So a little later in the show, we're going to recap what we did last Saturday because that was pretty wild. Hey, Carl, what did we do last Saturday?
It was pretty wild. It was a lot of fun. We had a bunch of people behind the scene tasting alongside us while we were live. 4 hours and 45 minutes live of live show tasting roughly 50 different crafted in BC wines. For people who are still wondering what I mean by crafted in BC, it's specifically from the 2024 vintage in the Okanagan, in British Columbia, where we were hit by a major frost and 95% of the crop was killed even before the spring starts. So that January 12, I believe, minus 21 or below, all the way down to minus 35 in some area, killed the primary bud, the secondary bud, the tertiary bud. Lucky we have not suffered much of vine death, but there were no grapes in the Okanagan and the Similkameen Valley last year. Very few little patch worth a barrel here and there, but 95% of the grapes were non-existent. So what
I
did
just
our
saw a post because it's been really fun, and maybe we'll show you guys after we chat with our awesome surprise guests and share a pretty cool announcement about the Pan-Canadian Masterclass. We're going to recap that live tasting, and it's kind of fun to see what the wineries did with the labels. And one of the wineries here, Blasted Church, their whole line of wines is kind of fun labels having to do with like heaven and hell and all this. So their wine, the only wine they made from the 2024 vintage, they made 60 cases. I'm pretty sure that's all the wine they had. And they called it Hell Froze Over.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's one of the winery who had a little bit of fruits growing on there, and it seems like it's on that side of the lake, Mira. Because if you look next, like really close by on the Skaha bench, Painted Rock, which is close and same side on the same lake. Then Blasted Church, Painted Rock had some grapes growing last year. Tightrope down on the Okanagan Lake, but same side, so same sun exposure. Had also a tiny bit of grapes in one of their Riesling block. But anyway, so what our producer did, they went down to Washington State in Oregon and purchased grapes from growers down there, and either make wine out there and ship the fermented juice at the winery here, or ship directly the freshly harvested grape to their crush pad and press the grape. But 95% of the wine made from 2024 was made from U.S. purchased grapes. So that's what the crafted in BC means. And because their wines are just getting released, we did a tasting last weekend, and we had like roughly 50 of them, mostly Pinot Gris, Sauvignon Blanc, a bunch of rosés from different type of grapes, a few Albarino, a few Chenin Blanc, couple of Rieslings as well, but a wide varietals, wide different style of wine. And it was very interesting to see what's coming up on the market. And just to be clear, this decision was not made by choice. It was made by necessity. Just want to make sure that people understand. If we had grape growing here, our farmers and our winemakers and our wineries would have, like they've done in the last 25 years, used their own grape, but that was not. So they had to find an alternative. And all of this decision was made prior to the U.S. election last year, was made prior to our race here, to our own election. There is nothing politics. It's nothing about supporting U.S. or supporting Canada. Like, it's all about our wineries, our owners try to stay afloat and try to stay in business. That was one of the only solution.
Great thing is that I'd say 98% of the people that we're sharing this with online are understanding that and fully supporting these awesome BC wineries, our favorite wineries. So I think that's great to see. So you'll get the full recap in a nutshell of the 45 plus wines we tasted last Saturday, including some of Carl's top 10, which hasn't been announced yet. Keep an eye out for that tomorrow. But before that, and we have 5 wines open here, including one that I'm blind tasting Carl on. But before we get to all that, we have 2 people in the green room that are our surprise guests today. 2 awesome, fun, amazing people from 2 of our very favorite wineries. In fact, 2 previous Carl's Wine Club Winery of the Year recipients, Members' Choice, I might add. So they're going to join us for a fun announcement, right, Carl?
Absolutely. So, because there you go. Woohoo! Oh, look at that room here. Hey, that is party on the web right here.
Cheers, guys.
Hey, Marcel Morgenstern, Sue and staff. Holy shit, we have some big guns here tonight. That is awesome. Welcome, guys. How's it going?
Great, fantastic.
Better.
Yeah. So, Suan, I'm hearing that you're running Bachelorette for the week. So it's woohoo!
Just tonight and tomorrow night. That's it. Yes. No big deal.
Wherever he is in the world, Rob, we're saying hi to you. Hopefully everything is going well. Marcel, how are you doing, my man?
I'm fantastic in the panic room here.
There you go. So I mean, we wanted to talk Pan-Canadian. There's a few wines that we just announced that we're going to talk a little bit more. And I mean, we'll start with you, Suan. Okay, you are going to be our host for the third edition of the Pan-Canadian Masterclass on June 21st. That we're moving from Hester Creek in BC. The first year, but the very first year was at Marcel's Winery at Bellaterra. That was edition number 1. We moved it to BC for second edition, and now we're going back to Niagara, and Suhan is the gracious host of that event. Growing and growing and growing, changing a little bit of the format this year, where we're focusing on grape varietals from different sub-region of the country. So like I said in the intro, 3 Chardonnays from 3 different spots around the country, 3 Syrah. We're going to do 2 Merlots, so something a little different than focusing on very specific sub-appellation. So what do you think of that new format, you guys?
Oh, that sounds fantastic. We'll have a really great chance to get a deep dive into these wines and the varietals and what makes them so special and what makes it so diverse going across the country as well. So I think it'd be really, really enlightening. I'm glad to be a part of it and be hosting it so I can hear what everyone's going to say anyway. And I think that's a great idea. Thanks. That's been a really great twist to our third edition of the Pan-Canadian Wine Tasting.
So, Suan, I mean, in the Cabernet Franc category, yes, we're going to have 3 as well. It's going to be yours. It's going to be John Skinner at Painted Rock, who's going to feature his Cabernet Franc this year. And
this Cab Franc, though, that is in my glass, is this Suan's?
Absolutely, 100%. 2018
like
Chestnut Tree in your glass here. And we're also going to have
amazing.
Mr. Brian Schmidt at Vineland Estate. We're also going to jump in the Cabernet Franc conversation, but more specifically with the Solera system, the legacy that he's doing. So we're going to have a complete different conversation. So really, really cool. So Suan, I would love for you to start us off with talking about your estate, talking about Suan's staff, talking about the Vinemount Ridge appellation, where you're located, and a little bit of history of your property.
Sure, no problem. So just to get the geographical sense where we are, so we're here west of St. Catharines in the Niagara Peninsula. We're about 5 kilometers from Lake Ontario. And it would be there's a map on the perfect. So as you leave Lake Ontario and you have Toronto in your background, you're traveling due south. After about 3 kilometers, you go up the Niagara Escarpment, which is a 300-foot elevation change. And once you get to the top of that, about another kilometer back is where we are. So you go up a few benches, we call it like a couple like plateaus of the escarpment to get to where we are. So when you get to our place, we're away from Lake Ontario. We're on top of the Niagara Escarpment, and by the time you get to the south end of our property, the property itself is about 104 acres, so it's a good size. And when you get to the south end of our property, you're far enough away from Lake Ontario that you're outside of vinifera grape growing at that point. So being a cooler location where we are, we have to focus on varieties I know for sure will get ripe every single year, and grapes that will endure the winters, because I don't have the same lake effect that we would have if I was closer to Lake Ontario. So Riesling, Cabernet Franc are my claims to fame. My neighbors are pretty heavy into Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and we intend to get there too in the next few years. So and then
are you going to start dipping into the Pinot Noir pool too?
Yeah, a little bit. It cracks me up because when I thought of our property back when I was going to school to be a winemaker, I thought, well, when I come home and start planting grapes, I'm planting nothing but Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And then how is it here? I'm 55 and don't have a single vineyard, a single vine of Riesling or Pinot Noir on the property, or a single vine of Pinot Noir Chardonnay. So anyway, so by the time I'm 70,
crazy.
I'll have it like figured out and going great, and great wine's coming out of barrel by then, with luck. Anyway,
Awesome. Hey, forgive my ignorance, but when it comes to the sub appellations, which one are you on? Where are you on this map?
right. So we're considered Vinemount Ridge. We're right on the border of the 20-mile bench and Vinemount Ridge. In fact, one of our vineyards actually straddles it. So,
cool.
Yeah. So it's clay soils with limestone rock not too far beneath. So when you're up on top of the escarpment here, you typically see smaller vines because the soil depth isn't as deep as it would be like in Niagara Lake, because that clay as well, the vine needs to work out a little bit harder to create the vine and then create the fruit. But then you get some beautiful tasting fruit as well. So, and then we get to the question mark of how is it that ended up here? Well, it was a decision made by my great-great-great-grandfather, Robert Staff, who was the original settler to our property here 200 years ago. So when people say to me, wow, you're really hard to find, it was really a bit of a challenge, I'm like, hey, well, it's our great-great-great-grandpa Robert put us 200 years ago. Sorry. I don't know what to say. So, and the part B of that is, that's where, he put us, but part B is no one's been clever enough to leave. So here we are. So but it's fun to have that history and have that heritage here as well. So
the house on the property where we do tasting, Suan, is the original house of the family when the first settler came?
Well, there was a house just smaller than this one, right in front of it, when that would have been like their first home, let's say, and the very first barn would have been just right across the road. And that's typically what happened with settlement properties like ours, where the road then would go right in between the house and the barn. And it seems so odd, but being down in Virginia a few years ago, I was like, wow, this is like what it would have been like on some of those back roads where you're like driving right down the middle of the farm, right? So anyway, this house was built in that I live in now. It was built in 1883. The main barn, the new one, the new barn was built in 1882. When they're building the house, the barn was struck by lightning and burned to the ground and had to be rebuilt in 1883. So there was quite a bit of building on the property during that time. They ran out of wood. They had to buy another farm to get more wood to build the second barn. And so there's all kinds of stories about barns at that time. How
so is this the plot of the killer Netflix show 1883 that's running?
Love it.
I think of how hard it was back then and watching that show, and I was a mess watching that show. I cried. Like, I could only watch one at a time for like every 2-week period, whether there's a new show that dropped or not, because it just made me realize how hard our ancestors had to work to get here and what they had to endure. And here I'm upset because, oh my God, my nail broke today. Oh my God. And I can't get this cork out of this bottle of wine.
In the vineyard. There you go.
That's crazy. And so the Pan-Canadian will be at your property, but I mean, it's not going to be in your 150-year-old house. We're not going to do that to your house. Well, you have a beautiful space beside the barn, which is a massive tent where you do special event, wedding, and stuff like that. So we're going to go in there, and you have space, quite a bit of a space. So that's why we tried to grow it to 150 guests this year, which will be the very most that we've had for the Pan-Canadian. So it's very, very exciting.
Yes, I think we're on track. Sales are going fantastic, so people should hop on board and grab them. We'll be in a space called the Moyer Marquee, which is named after my great-grandmother, who was Grace Moyer. All the event spaces here are named after the women that made the property so special as well. So it's a gorgeous 3,600 square foot marquee with large crystal chandeliers. We'll have the chiffon lining up inside the tent too. So we'll have like this really, beautiful feel inside the tent too. And it overlooks a 2.5 acre pond that was built by my grandfather. So we call it Lake Lavelle in honor of him. And so it's a gorgeous setting. You have vineyards on one side, pond on another, the barns, your If it's a nice day, we'll have all the doors open so the breeze can come through and you can really feel like you're part of the escarpment, part of being out on the farm for the day and drinking some great wine. Great wine. My God,
It's
we have
not
some fantastic
beautiful.
wine.
It's not beautiful. It's stunning.
Thanks,
It's
Marcel. Yeah, it's
amazing,
pretty
amazing
special.
location.
And if people wonder why Marcel is tuning in today, well, I mean, because I know that Mira, when Mira co-hosts with me or do something, no one pay attention to me. It's always like Mira's the boss, Mira's so good, and like people make fun at me the whole freaking time. So I'm sick and tired of that. No. I'm just joking. Mira's gonna be busy, very busy doing lots of other things, also like keeping me on track, like keeping me square and on schedule. Suan, you're the host. You're going to be very busy. So now we're going to make the public announcement. We have all come to agree that the best co-host in the country for the Pan-Canadian will be the one who had the freaking idea from the very beginning. Marcel's going to be the co-host this year for the 3rd edition of the Pan-Canadian.
So, Carl,
Co-MC.
what you're really saying, it's a downgrade because you kicked Mira out. I got it. No problem.
Well,
I got it. No worries.
Marcel, I'm a downgrade every day, for God's sake. So you know what? I just
So you know what? I think at this point, I'm glad that this announcement only coming now, that you're pretty much halfway sold out. So nobody can give their tickets back that have been purchased.
There's a clause. There's a non-refundable clause in there.
No. Like, listen, when you called me the other day, and let's just tell everyone that wasn't your idea, it was Mira's idea. Come on.
I can't fucking win.
But it is still Carl's Wine Club. It's okay. It's okay. No worries.
I know we haven't officially changed the name yet, so
Yeah. The patent has been submitted, though.
Listen, I was hesitant. I think that's fair to say. Because I think you guys are doing such a great duo. But then, as you guys kind of explained, to have someone locally in there, you know what? I like the idea. So I think that's a great addition to it. When it goes back to BC, or who knows, maybe Nova Scotia is next. I'm just putting it out there. But to have that local touch, I think
in the 5th year, for Nova Scotia, Marcel.
There you go.
Number 5. You're already scheduled it for the number 5, the Lobster
Beautiful.
Festival.
Oh, I'm in. Okay.
I have to say,
for that, I wouldn't have time to co-host because I'd be eating oysters and lobster all the time. So
right. And I have to say too, because the second thought was, I was like, well, Carl, I can't like co-MC the whole time with you because I'm going to be doing a few things. And then he's like, well, Suan can be on the stage with me the whole time. And then I'm like, no, I don't think she can because she's the venue host. And we're interviewing
So clearly I was looking for a female with me.
And we're interviewing her during the actual panels. So, yeah. So...
Well,
all that to say,
if you're
Marcel,
still excited, I'm excited about it. I think there is no better time for the 3rd edition of Pan-Canadian. Where you guys and us we've learned a lot over the last couple of them, and to bring it back here at a time where people are more actively seeking out, even people outside of the Carl's Wine Club are seeking out Ontario wines and want to know or discover or make up for lost time, I guess, in some cases. This is like the best way, the fastest way to get a real, not just an overview, but an in-depth look at the different regions that you're highlighting. And to make some real connections, not just with the people that are on the panel, but the people that have now joined us a couple of times as guests, and to connect with them. I just I think it was yesterday or today did a little post on LinkedIn and kind of debated on whether I'm going to post it or not, but it had to be said. if you're still saying, and I did it specific for Ontario wine, but you can say the same thing about Canadian wine. Oh, sorry, I don't drink Canadian wine. Well, either you've never tried that many, or you stopped trying Canadian wine 10 years or more ago, and if you want to make up for lost time, this is the kind of event you want to be at. There's, you can read about it, you can talk about it, but we know that with wine, the best way to figure out whether you like it or not is actually come and taste it.
Yeah, and I mean like 4,300 kilometers between one to another. I mean Vancouver Island to print to Nova Scotia. It's a heck of an experience, and to I would say to discover the different style that what we're doing across the country. That's really what pushed me to do these varietal specific side by side each other, right? Tasting these Chardonnay from three different terroirs. I think that's how we can show the Canadian wine lovers the style from one grape that we can produce from across the country, and it's so freaking exciting. I think our winemaking skills have gone so like world class, and the understanding of our land. Like I mean, like Suan, just like looking at your property, right? Over the years, how much more understanding with the technology that what you have and what to plant, where, how much easier it is now to, and you know that you can make you can make wines at a higher quality because of the understanding of your terroir, correct?
Oh, definitely. Every year is a learning curve as well. And it kind of cracked me up because when I started making wine for myself here on our own property 15 years ago, it cracked me up because I'd already been a winemaker for 15 years. I already knew what to do. I already knew the dynamics of winemaking and what worked and what didn't work. But my apprehension was like so high because I didn't know what to do here. And so it was like a 5 year every year was like I was a rookie again, trying to figure out, oh, well, maybe I'll try this year, I'll try that next year. But then the climate changes, there's more rain, less heat, more whatever. And so then you're trying to tweak and change and adjust for every one of those ideas as well. So you can understand why it, you can't figure out how to make a really great wine in a year. It does take decades. And I always compare it to like making an apple pie. That I can't just make 10 apple pies in a row and try to get it better and better each day, make an apple pie. It doesn't work like that. Each year is an apple pie. And so if I got too much cinnamon in it this year, well, that's too bad. I got to live with that situation of too much whatever it is for a year until I have another chance the following year. So
that is such a good analogy. But sorry, Suan, before I dig into your wine, Marcel, I want to get back to you because we're going to kick off the celebration of the Pan-Canadian on the Thursday night at Bellaterra at your winery. That's going to be the welcome reception. That's where people are flying in, because there's a lot of people who are flying out from Western Canada. There's a lot of people traveling from everywhere in Ontario. Some people in Quebec are driving as well. So people are coming into town on the Thursday night, and people. So we're going to start the celebration at Bellaterra for a welcome reception. First and foremost, I mean, we're looking at what, maybe 75 people, hopefully maybe 100 people around the pond, right? We're going to do a little wine garden around there with some barbecue food and all that. So we are super thrilled to kick off the whole thing at your place where everything started. For us, it means a lot to kick off the weekend where everything started. It's at Bellaterra.
Yeah, and to get to warm up the palates, I guess, a little bit of tasting, and I think also it's great to meet quite a few people that are also going to be part of the rest of the weekend and part of the main event, so that by the time the panel is sitting up there, nobody feels shy about grilling them with questions anymore. Yeah.
And I mean, and we we kind of what we wanted to do a
Oh,
little
sorry,
different.
Suan. Did you hear that?
There's a method to the madness. I get it. Okay. All right. I like it. I like it. Game on.
Game on. Someone has to be the bad guy. But one thing we really wanted to focus on, because our country gets much stronger. Our winemaking Team Canada is so great when our people from BC meets people with in Niagara, right? To build these connections, these relationship from the two wine region, and we've seen that over the last couple years. I mean, you had the chance to meet with Richard Da Silva and Rob Amersley and all of these, and John Skinner and all of these people, right? So we want that again this year to really improve and increase. So that's why we want to invite the industry, the Niagara wine industry, to come and meet with us at Bellaterra on the welcome reception. If you can't make it to the main event, well, let's bring the industry at Bellaterra so we can have a nice crowd and they can meet people from out west.
Yeah, I mean, for people that are listening from Niagara, from Ontario, uh, please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know of another event where you'll be able to taste that many BC wines out here in one go, meet the winemakers, and then also purchase some wines. So this is, yeah, if you've ever wondered, like, this is the one place you want to be to discover all of Canada, not just BC. We have East Coast, of course.
Prince Edward County too,
Prince
though.
Edward County. Well, that's around the corner.
That's around the corner.
But yeah, no, it's just like, I'm repeating myself here, but the excitement that you're gonna feel if you like wine, as a disclaimer, but to be in that room, be around these people, and having to see the kind of variety that's there, the different terroirs, the different grape varietals, and then to have people passionately talking about it, from laughter to getting each other going, to close to tears, emotional roller coaster ride. Like, you'll see all of it, because we have now seen it 2 years in a row, and that part, that's a guarantee. So it's stories like what Suan is saying, where she's going to be in the next episodes of 1883, hopefully with a much better outcome. But to the stories where two winemakers meet from across the country and figure out before the show even starts that they were working as bouncers at the same club. Like, there was no script for that. So
yeah.
Oh, and by the way, there is great wine in that room as well. So that's
exactly.
that's on top.
Really
of
great
so
wine.
it's
Yeah.
just a hell of a tasting that has nothing to do with going to a trade show. Has nothing to do with just lining wines up and going through them one by one. This is really a personal experience.
I mean, also, it's nothing about which one is the best. And I think it was kind of a fear at the beginning, and it's never been like, it doesn't turn out that way. I think it's just, people just realize when they get there that it's all different. It's not,
Yes.
oh, this one is much better than this one. We haven't seen that for
No.
not once. And that's why when I kind of switched the format a little bit, it came to my mind, oh, is people will try to judge which one is the best, and Mira's like, no, it didn't happen. It never happened since the very beginning. And I think that people in their mind, it's very obvious. It's about complementarity. It's about how different everything is and how good all of these wines are. So yeah, very, very exciting.
Well,
Mira,
it does help that you pre-select the wines, and we're showing the best of the best. So let's be honest here.
Someone has to do it.
This is not a blind tasting. That's why you have a job. So
Yeah, exactly.
And we're very transparent about it. So if those of you that stay till the end of this show, we've got 2 or 3 wines right now that we're going to be tasting to narrow down to one. That's gonna.
Oh, and I have to say, my decision is already made, and it's not with the one that I have in front of me.
Really?
No.
Last week. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't tasted either of the ones in front of us, but the nose on the North Chardonnay is really, really, really intriguing.
Yeah. So now, speaking about wine, let's dig into the 2018.
Yes.
2018 Shuan Staff Chestnut Tree. And also, maybe I kind of forgot to mention at the beginning that Enovino will be sponsoring the event. And I mean, this one, you too. See, I think people will think that the bottle comes with the Enovino.
It's so clever. It's so
yeah,
clever.
no,
I mean,
there's a reason for, because I opened the bottle at 4:30, so I'm like, here you go. We need the Enovino for that one, and it was absolutely perfect. So, Shuan, before I talk about my score and my notes on what I'm tasting here, I would like to hear a little bit more about the chestnut tree, the story, the vineyard, what's behind the name of the chestnut tree, because I think it's a really cool story, and also the vineyard on its own.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's start with the fun part first. Then we'll get serious. The name, the chestnut tree, and also helped frame the wine too, because often people think that the wine was aged in chestnut tree wood when that has nothing to do with that at all. So the chestnut tree. So all the red wines on the property are named after things on our property, and the chestnut tree here has quite a story, whether you believe it or not. This story and the legend goes like this. I'll try to keep it short. My ancestors would take a ship of apples and pears to England in the wintertime and bring back a ship of cattle and keep the best for themselves and sell the rest to their neighbors. Everybody had heard of improvement from this. One winter while they were gone, the renegades came through. This is probably when, back at the beginning of the show, we talked about the house being in front of here and the barn in front of here, and the road went right through between the two. The renegades came through and they broke into the house. They stole all the milk and cheeses and preserves. And when they left in the morning, they left a riding crop, or like a riding switch that you'd use on your horse. They left it stuck in the ground. And so the women that stayed for the winter here, they left it in the ground. And in the spring, it sprung roots and became the tree that is here today. Now, to make this story one more step unbelievable, is who are these renegades? And according to my ancestors and the legend, is that it was Jesse James. And so I had a lady working here at the time. She'd been here for about 7 years, and she was like, Sue-Ann, how come I've never heard of this story? You're full of it. I'm like, well, I'm full of stories. I have lots of them. So she went and researched the story, and it turns out that Jesse James did spend the last part of his life avoiding the authorities of America with family just outside of Lucknow, just outside of Kitchener-Waterloo. So it is possible that if you're going from America into Canada, especially during that time, and as a renegade and all his bandits, you'd want to not take the most highly traveled route. This road is called Stagecoach Road that went right in front of the farm. Highly untraveled, and follows the top of the Niagara Escarpment all the way to Kitchener-Waterloo. So true, not true. Every time I tell the story, I do get goosebumps. I do have the shivers right now telling you, and
That's
and
awesome.
why my grandmother told me that. So, and it's in our family, or like our little family album. So it has to be true. That's it.
It has to be.
So
it
now
has to be. Marcel, what do you think? What do you think of that? Right? It has to be.
I did research. The property that you've seen on East-West line, where we have a big Sauvignon Blanc block, which is our Chorus vineyard, and I traced that back to like you read it and it's like holy crap, this is a movie, you know, like there it was. It's the only person from Hanover, Germany that was fighting as a loyalist because of the connection to the English crown. He gets a property there. Later on, they stock medical supplies for for the fort here in Niagara on the lake, on the property. And as the Americans are attacking, you know, there's a gunfight on the corner of that property, you know, east-west line where the McDonald's is today, just down the street.
Jeez.
And he lived to be 83 years old.
Wow.
And it's all documented. So yeah, like this area is just freaking full of these stories. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that in a second. I mean, it just, there's so much history in this area. That is, you know, as the former capital of Upper Canada, I would say there was lots of action in this area.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
That is crazy. That is awesome. So, Suan, let's talk about what's in the glass, because I mean, full body. This is not your little lighter body style Cabernet Franc. This is full body. There's a great tannic structure. But now, I mean, at 2018, we're talking about 8 years of age, 7 years of age. This wine has softened up because I tasted that wine 2 years ago. This wine is offering a different personality. Still, on the darker side, it's dark cherry, blackberry. It's some tobacco, some I would say some ground coffee espresso who hit after the mid palate. Long finish. And that's where, when I tasted it first, I was reviewing my notes from 2 years ago. The tannin was gripping you from the front palate all the way past to the mid palate. Now that tannic effect has moved from the mid palate. Nothing, no tannin, no attack on the front. Everything has softened up. Past the mid palate, now you have the little grippiness coming up and lingering until a spicy finish. I love that wine. I really love it. Tell me a little bit. What's your
Carl? Before you do, because Carl is the wine preacher here. Okay, there's not many people on the planet that can go on for like 10 minutes describing a wine in detail like that. Impromptu. I love it. And
I had 3 sips while you guys were talking. I had a lot to say.
I can't wait to hear
3
more about it from Suan too. But Marcel's got to run. And so Marcel, very exciting. Thanks for everyone that tuned in to hear that our big announcement that Marcel has accepted the very exciting role of co-MC at the Pan-Canadian with Carl Boucher.
I'll try my best.
For that. We're really grateful, Marcel.
Thank you guys.
It's going to be a hoot. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Cheers.
Take care. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, co-host. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, Marcel.
Yeah, that's true.
Really
Sorry
nice.
for
Very
holding
exciting.
up Marcel. I was going on I was on the tear right now. So okay, sorry, I'm gonna shut up for a bit. I want to hear Suan talking about her wine. What do you think? What were your intention? I mean, you have a certain profile that you want to profile, but 2018 gave you something specific. So when you put that, what was the intention with that wine?
Yeah, I mean, 2018 was a really fantastic year. It was hot, it was dry. In fact, I do like 2018 more than 2020. I'm one of the few in that camp that I know in 2020 we billed as being, you know, the vintage of the century, but I also think sometimes in 2020 we're looking for a silver lining in that year because it was tumultuous. I think
the COVID year, right? So
we needed a good line. We needed a good news story, right? And I'm not discounting those wines at all because they're stunning as well. But what I like a little bit more about 2018 is that we had a bit more precipitation that year, and I'm all for a dry year where, you know, let's not have the water coming up through the roots and diluting the flavor in the wine. However, we also have to have enough water there to ensure that all the flavor profiles are being created. And that all comes from nitrogen. And nitrogen, the only way nitrogen comes through the vine is through water. So there's a real delicate balance between, you know, having too little water, perfect amount of water, and too much water, right? Like it's here in Niagara too, we're often plagued with too much water. Hence why all the vineyards are under drained to ensure that we get rid of that spring water as fast as possible in the spring to get that the ground to warm up quickly, and then to get into a nice dry season for the rest of the year. And especially if it rains through harvest, get rid of that water fast too, because we don't want that water logging the roots. So 2018, I love the year. So I knew I was working with some really fantastic fruit to start off with, though that we had great color, great intensity. We were able to leave it on the vine quite late to ensure that all those green notes, those herbal, grassy notes that you often see in Cabernet Franc, which I despise, I will wait until November 15th and there's snow on the vine and all the leaves are gone to harvest. And I have documented proof of that. That's what I did in 2019. So anyway, yes. So it was hand harvested and 30 days on the skins to really get all that color, flavor, complexity. There's a lot of tannin there to get in the berries as well. And then what did I do? I did 22 months in French and American oak barrels, about 50-50. And half of them would have been new and half are old. When I get vintages like this, there's a bit of a philosophy right now of going neutral oak and don't let the oak dominate the wine, and that's right, never let oak dominate a wine. However, oak, when it's used, some years you can be judicious, and this is one of those years where you had piles of fruit, and yes, sure, it might take 5 years, 7 years, 8 years for that wine to balance out, but I made this wine for 22 years of aging, 25 years of aging. So yeah, it's going to be a little rough and grippy at the beginning, but starting about a year ago and for the next 10 years, this is a sensation. And then it depends on how aged you like it as to how long you want to go.
And if you allow me, Sue-Ann, I think we went too far in the non-oak or neutral oak. I mean, I love oak. And I mean, we went so far to like the promotion of un-oak and neutral oak only that America, like especially with the Napa Valley wave and the big and bold wine, heavy wine, and the pendulum went so way back that it was almost like oak is bad. And I'm sorry, oak is not bad, and especially with the vintage like that when the wine can take it. Right? There's some vintage that cannot take it. You'll overpower it, but with a vintage like that, it can take it.
It can take it, and I've been fortunate to be able to spend a good chunk of time in France, and I never saw the oak purchasing change there. So, and those big houses, they're going for wines with big longevity, and so when you have wines that are that big, and also with the way we're making these wines now too, with all the leaf removal that we're doing and getting all these fruit sensations in it, we're so much more concentration of flavor that it just keeps asking the question, how much can it take? So you have to be careful. You have to be watching them every year. The 2020, it got a lot of time, got 22 months in oak as well. In between the 2019, it was a cooler year. And I didn't even make any chestnut tree because at 14 months, I thought, you know what, this wine is good, is lovely. I pulled it all out of barrel, and I made another wine called the Gritstone. So this chestnut tree is not something I make every year. It's not a given that it's going to happen, that the conditions have to be perfect and the wine has to be perfect too. So I'm thinking of another year. Well, so what did I do? In 2020, actually, I went through and we pulled out some of the American oak barrels at that point, and made the Gritstone Cabernet out of some of them, and I did a lot that year too, so I could put some French oak too. But the cool part of the 2020, when that one comes out, it will be 100% French oak, and that length of time on it as well. But no 21 chestnut tree, it was just too wet and too diluted. 22, there's hardly anything there to put in your shoe or rubber boot. I joked as a fancy farm girl. I said, I don't have 3 rubber boots out there in the whole vineyard. 23 was meh. It was nice. But the 24, woohoo, delicious.
I know. I'm hearing that 24 is so much excitement in the winemaking community in Niagara.
Yeah, no, fantastic wines, and I'm really excited about what's coming out of our cellar. We have some beautiful Merlot, Cab Franc, Cab Sauv, Gamay as well, which I've only done over a few years. I buy some in from another winery that for the Gamay. But yeah, we're gonna have a good suite of wines for the 24 vintage. But anyway, doesn't matter. Patience, gotta wait for those wines to come along. So
I mean, this is absolutely fantastic right now. And I mean, and this is so much projection, right? I mean, exactly from what I tasted 2 years ago. Now, like I said, the tannic structure is moving from front to mid palate. And I can see this one is not even like it has much more to come. Much more to come. I mean, it's just entering his teenage phase. This wine is entering his young adult phase. There are a lot more to come. I'm at this. Oh, Mira's having that like.
I'm
little
loving this wine right now. I like the
Awesome.
teenage phase.
Cheers.
Nice and
The
spicy.
teenage phase. Yes.
Cheers.
Yes. These are the years where, things go
Yeah.
wild, right? So
Yeah, then the kid goes out and they come back at 3:30 in the morning and stumbling down, coming in. I mean, yeah, this is a wild wine. I mean, there's so much more coming, but I love from front to finish. There's a lot of complexity, but there's a personality. It's darker, it's bolder, and I like you can feel you give it all for what 2018 could take. That's for sure.
right. And I think that's the that's winemaking again. It's back to apple pie philosophy that you know what, you're only given so many great vintages, and so knowing what to do when with them is part of the game. And what was fun, what we can do too is when we're here for the Pan-Canadian, we will have some breakout sessions and stuff. And I'm thinking, we'll be tasting, presuming this one with at the tasting, but we can pull out some of the older ones. I do have quite a bit of a 17 and sugar 15 in the warehouse, so we could go play. In fact, we're gonna be able to sell some that day too. Even I'm not sure. Oh yeah, we will. We got 15, a lot of 17 and 16. So yeah. So
Now
those unique opportunities for people there too.
You're on record. You're on record. So
it's recorded here live on Carl's Wine Club. Yeah. Perfect.
That's awesome. Mira, yeah, exactly. Mira, do you have anything else to bring up?
Well, I love it all. I think it's going to be amazing. I think that we just need to start telling more of these stories as we lead up to the Pan-Canadian and make sure that everyone who should be in that room is there with us. Because like you were saying, Sue-Ann, the tickets are starting to go fast, and I think they're going to be sold out in the next few weeks.
I think so too.
So if you are, liking what we're talking about, if you're interested in these incredible stories and learning them, like that thing with Jesse James leaving his riding crop in the ground after he pillaged your great grandparents' farm, and then this tree grew, and now we're drinking the wine that grows right near that tree, right?
So sometimes out of something bad comes something good. In fact, you could even taste this wine underneath the chestnut tree that day, because it's like literally 70 steps from the tent. So
crazy and fun and
background.
amazing.
So I want to show you one before I let you know.
Canadian, right?
Yes, yeah.
Before I let you go, Sue-Ann, I want to show you something, because we're talking about the Pan-Canadian, we're talking about collaboration, we're talking about Team Canada, whatever it is. So I don't know if you heard about Tantalus Vineyard. So Tantalus Vineyard is one of a winery here in the Okanagan, in Kelowna, on the Kelowna West, South Kelowna slope.
Yep. I visited when I came out there last West, actually. So
look at their wine from 2024 here. Yeah. This is 2024 Riesling, Grimsby Hillside, and Piccone Vineyard.
But you're going to make it Italian. Piccone. So
Piccone, okay.
Yes,
I said Piccone before, and people say, whoa, this is Piccone. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Okay, Piccone. But how cool is that?
That vineyard is like 10 kilometers from here, right atop the Niagara Escarpment as a crow flies. and I believe it's also Weiss Clone as well. Beautiful piece of property. Great spot. Great wines.
So this is so cool that one of our Kelowna winery went all the way in Ontario, spent some time there last year, and they made a full collaboration with the Grimsby and the Piccone Vineyard. So I thought it was really cool. I'm tasting the wines, and I told Mira last night, I have a feel of Niagara when I taste that wine. I could smell it. I could taste it. It's so cool. So, hey, that's what we're all about. It's Canada in a nutshell. It's one of the beautiful example of our collaboration. So, yeah, kudos to Tantalus, to Grimsby Hillside, to Piccone Vineyard. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, Sue-Ann. Thank you so very much. Again, thank you for partnering up with us this year to make the third edition of the Pan-Canadian Masterclass a resounding success, and I'm sure it will be. So you have a good evening. Thank you. 92 plus points here. Woo! 92 plus. Woo! And it keeps climbing. And it keeps climbing. Thank you.
Thank you
Perfect.
so
All right,
much.
be well. We'll catch up again very soon.
We'll chat soon.
I'm really happy to see, can't wait to see everybody here as well. So cheers.
Thank you.
Can't wait. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Hi.
Nice.
That was loud. Sorry.
I like it. I like the sound. I like everything about it.
Wow. That's so amazing. We're
so amazing. Glad that Marcel accepted the invite, becoming the co-MC of the.
I feel like we heckled him a lot. I mean, poor guy, but but he's so great, and it's going to be so fun to see you guys chatting it up all night and co-MCing together, and yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, I love it. I love that wine too. Really,
the chestnut tree. Oh yeah, you have been so stingy with your scores lately. I don't know. You're gonna have to taste this one tomorrow, because this is a wow wine. It is a serious wow wine. I love it.
Oh, I'm getting some fleek here again. Jeezy moly.
It's okay. It's okay. It's better to get flack that you underscored a wine, I guess, than it is to say you're giving away too much candy. That's probably what you're trying to make sure doesn't happen. So I respect that. Good seeing you, Sue-Ann. See you in June. Yes, I can't wait. It'll be great. So there's a 3-second delay. Yes, that's awesome. Yep, it's true. There is
just delay. Like, whoa, what am I doing there? Oh, that's too good.
An out-of-body experience. Yeah.
So what time do we have here? There we go. 6:05. So 8:05 Eastern.
Since we're on the topic of the Pan-Canadian, fill me in real quick on what's in the glass here, because that has to do with the Pan-Canadian. You're trying to pick a wine, right? From these. And then we're going to do a recap of the 45 wines we tasted, but like a rapid recap. So those
rapid recap. So first and foremost, what we have here, Trail Estates, Trail Estate North and South from the 2021 vintage.
So Trail Estate at the Pan-Canadian is representing Prince Edward County, which is a lesser known region in Ontario. It is 3-4 hours east of Toronto, right?
Yep, you got it.
So that region on the right in the brown. Oh, and there's Carl tasting one of the wines. So the last 2 years we have had the amazing Keith Tyers come to the Pan-Canadian Masterclass and share the Clausen Chase wines from Prince Edward County. And this year he was really gracious, and he said, you know what, I want one of the other Prince Edward County wineries to be able to have this spot. And, you know, he's still going to come. He's still going to be involved. We're still finding a very special role for Keith Tyers and their wines, because Clausen Chase wines are just phenomenal. But we do have another Prince Edward County winery that has agreed to join us during the actual masterclass with their winemaker, Mackenzie Brisebois, right?
You got that right. You got that right. So the Trail Estate. So I had the North and the South. Two wines I already tasted last year at our Chardonnay Marathon. I would, and because I tasted the 2022 Cold Creek Vineyard last week, and tasting the profile and where the vintage are at, and I mean, can't beat the Cold Creek from last week. I just can't beat that. And that's where I'm leaning towards to. So I believe that the 2022 Cold Creek Vineyard will be the Prince Edward County Chardonnay over the North and the South.
Okay, the North and the South are super intriguing.
And they are
love them.
intriguing. They are
Wow.
intriguing. They are in a very, let's see, more in a natural phase profile. Cold Creek, to me, was a little bit more classic on the profile.
And the Cold Creek too was one of those that when we opened it on the second day, it was even better, right? So it's one of those like white wines that can benefit from a decant.
100%, 100%. So yeah, that's where I'm leaning towards. So that's what is in our glass.
Awesome.
And the other white you have in your glass is the another splash of the collaboration. I like how these, like the line here, it says grown in Ontario, made in British Columbia.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I really love that.
And they had their winemaker go from BC to Ontario during harvest and pressing, and then they brought the juice back to BC, which is really cool. So speaking of that, collaboration wines, because in 2024, as we explained before, 2024, there was a deep freeze in the Okanagan and Similkameen valleys, and pretty much 95% of the grapes in BC did not happen. Wineries had no grape crop in 2024. Very few wineries had a very small batch of grapes, but 10, 20, 30% of what they usually have, if that. So they had to do something. A lot of wineries could not afford to take 1, 2, or 3 years off from winemaking because they would have to either shut down entirely or close their tasting rooms because there's no wines to pour, or lay off all their staff, or all of the above. So what did they do, Carl?
So I was just reviewing my score here to give you a quick top 5 or top 10. So what did they do? They reached out to, so some of the wineries literally picked up the phone and called growers and called wineries, called people who had connection down there. And they literally phoning people, say, hey, I'm in the Okanagan. We don't have grape. We're looking forward for a partnership, and can I come over and see what you guys do? Like basically. And so our people from here, literally our winery owner and winemakers and viticulturists, went down in the Columbia Valley region, which is go across Washington State. It's a very wide, like the river, Columbia River, goes all the way across Washington State, all the way down to Oregon. And so they went and visit multiple different AVAs, which is the sub-region down there, and find growers and winery owners with the similar values, similar style of practices, similar practice, sharing the same practices in terms of viticultural aspects. So they found partners. They overseen blocks of certain vineyard, and literally, like if it was their own vineyard, overseeing the growing season by going there regularly. Lots of them moved there for harvest, like literally spending weeks at the time. Some of the wineries, they send some of their staff to live down in the Columbia River Valley for 3 months. So that's how serious they took that project for, because not by choice, again, it's by necessity, because they didn't have grape growing at their estate. So They overseen the growing season. They called the pick with their own numbers in the head, like trying to keep a style that they were growing in their own vineyard, and some had their refrigerated truck waiting to get the fresh grape in the refrigerator truck and ship right away the grape truck back across the border to their winery to press it there, or pressed it at either a winery partner or at a custom crush facility with their own staff, settle the juice, send the juice back to their winery, and ferment the juice at their own winery the way they wanted with their own protocol. Some also fermented the grape over there and shipped the final product back, but there were very little amount of doing that. So yeah, this is a little bit what they did. In order to stay afloat, in order to stay in business, in order to have wine to sell this year in their tasting room. Keep in mind, 90% of these wines made from Washington states are white or rosés. Why? Because the turnaround, because of the process, is much shorter to make a white or a rosé than it is to make a red. If you understand the whole process, harvested in September or October, well, the reds are not ready yet. The reds are in barrel at the moment, but the whites are ready to go. If you don't do long oak aging for any whites, now they're ready for release, and that was the goal. So when wineries open their tasting room, they have a new release to share with people who visit tasting rooms. So that was the goal of that. Now, with the political situation, with the whole uncertainty that we're facing with our neighbors down south, with our election, with the interprovincial restriction, the whole thing, there was a lot of question mark. People were asking a lot of questions. So Mira and I decided to pull together 50-ish bottles and taste the wines, because the message was, our producers, our winery owners, our winemakers have been making some world-class wine for 10 years now, or even longer. So 2024, it's not going to be any different. It's just that the source of grape, it's like a chef who buys his ingredient at the same farm every week. Something happened at the farm and he has to change farms maybe for a couple months, right? I mean, the chef's gonna still make some good dishes because he's a great freaking cook. But the ingredients have changed a tiny bit. And guess what? Our winemakers were excited to work with different ingredients, with different grapes. So it's worth it to go back and listen to some of the interview that I had with our winemakers, because in a very unfortunate situation created by Mother Nature, that terrible frost, but you know what? They made the best out of it. They went out there, they sourced some great grapes, they sourced some great juice, they made some great wine with most of them with some grapes that they usually don't work with. So it was exciting. So they did some cool stuff. So here we are now. So I tasted a bunch of stuff, and if you're interested, I can tell you what was some of my top wine. You want to jump in, Mira? Yeah.
I'm gonna put in the comments. So if anyone's listening and wants to see like the full list of wines we tasted, this is literally the spreadsheet with everything. So if you're if you like spreadsheets, or if you like seeing like lists of wine stats, this is kind of a dream here. But there you can see, if you sort by Carl's score, you can see his top scoring wines. So it's a great little cheat sheet to what Carl thought about it. But yeah, tell us more, Carl.
Again, I got accused to be stingy in my scores, not only by Mira, but a few other people backstage. But I mean, it gives you an idea. We tasted like all of these wines one after another on Saturday night. And starting with my top wine was the Tutabal. I'm not gonna say the vintage every single time because it's all the same vintage. They all 2024.
Yeah, that's a rare one, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. Starting with Black Market Wine Company, Black Market Saint-So Rosé.
Good.
Yeah. That rosé of Saint-So took me right back to the Provence region. The wine is absolutely spectacular. Like mineral driven, nice fruit, beautiful acidity. So I was quiet something. So I gave it a 92 points. Was it that? Like, so yeah, Black Market. Another top wine of the night. It's on my spreadsheet was 91 or 91 plus, but might have been closer to 92 points. It's Code Chardonnay. If Mira edited to 92, I would not be offended. It's
Okay, let
probably
me
more.
find it. Let me find it. So the Code Grower Series Chardonnay, right, from Rattlesnake Hills in Washington State, it was 92. What did you say? 92?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, it is 92. So two
Okay,
of the
good.
92 point. Okay, yeah. So there's that. So that's the 292 points. At 91 points, I have 3 or 4, which is Code Rosé, Code Wine Rosé, 40% Grenache, 30% Saint-So, 30% Syrah,
Yeah.
with the Saint-So fermented and aged in barrel. One of the 3 parts was barrel, and half of it was new barrel. So some oomph, some like that was some great stuff in there. And I like to mention the Rosé Master, Daniel Bonterin, had a little bit to do with that rosé, that Code Rosé, where he mentored
Very
Shea
cool.
Code on the winemaking aspect of it. And Shea was no shy to mention it, and he was proud to have Daniel on his side to help him with the rosé. And I tell you one thing, 91 points. It was absolutely fantastic. Another 91 point was the Tightrope Slackline Rosé. Tightrope from the Naramata bench. Let me see here. Tightrope right here. 100% Syrah from Yakima Valley. I thought it was light on its feet. I thought it was a great fruit concentration, bright acid. It was really worthy of mentioning. So Tightrope had a great showing, but you'll see Tightrope will be one of the rare winery to have a VQA, BC VQA wine for 2024. They were able to make a barrel of Riesling from their own their Naramata Bench vineyard. Tightrope. Here, if I go down at 91 plus, it was a Terra Vista Albarino. So Terra Vista is a Albarino specialist. They're located also on the Naramata Bench. And what they did in 24, they went down in different vineyards across the U.S. to source some different style of Albarino. They made a sparkling, and they also made a still Albarino from 2 different single vineyards from 2 different states. With completely different delivery. One was from the Spanish Castle Vineyard in Washington State, and the other one was from Grand Island in California. Just outside of Sacramento. So anyway, my very top Albarino, their top rated out of the 3, was the one from Grand Island, California. Really cool wine. Code also another 91 point. It's Fort Barons, the Here and There series Chardonnay. The Fort Barons did a great job across the board. They were one of my standout winery across the board. They sent us 4 wines. They were all very, very good. I think across the board, they did a great job across all varietals. Their Chardonnay and their Rieslings were their 2 standout, to my opinion. Both were, I believe, 91 points to the forbearance Riesling. Yeah,
You're
both
correct.
91.
As far as the live, yeah, that's what I had too. Yeah, 91.
Yeah. I have one more 91 points here, and it's Clos du Soleil Chardonnay. So from the Similkameen Valley, Clos du Soleil had sourced their Chardonnay from the Airport Ranch Estate in Yakima Valley. There was some nice barrel, new wood in there as well, some roundness, some crispness, well blended, well balanced. I was very impressed with the Clos du Soleil. If
Now
I
you
just
also had the 91 points on the black market ancestral method.
Yes, you're correct. Chenin
And-
Blanc Ancestral Method.
and 91 points on the Mayhem Columbia River Plateau Rosé. Did you already mention that one?
No, I did not. I
Oh.
missed the Mayhem
So those
Rosé, I
2.
guess.
Yeah, so 91 points on the black market ancestral method Chenin Blanc. That Chenin Blanc was a real standout, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Mayhem. Huh.
So the 24 Mayhem was also a surprise because it's a Merlot rosé.
Yeah,
And
correct.
we're a little biased. We had a tasting quite a while ago live with you guys with a whole bunch of rosés, and the Merlots, the first time we did that rosé tasting, the 5 Merlot rosés we did, they all scored the lowest in the whole tasting as a varietal for rosé. So, but this has redeemed Merlot for rosé right here, 91 points.
Yeah. And I wanted also to mention Solvero and Lunescence Pinot Noir Rosé, which both are from Oregon State. And I thought that was very worthy of mention. At 90 plus, they were right on the verge of the 91 point. The Solvero, Alison Moyes did a great job. And we'll have coming up, we never did a feature on Solvero. That's coming next week. And we'll have that Oregon State Fruit 2024 alongside the 2023 Rosé Pinot Noir from the estate in the Garnet Valley. So 2 Solvero Rosé from 2 different vintage, 2 different source of fruits coming up your way next week alongside some Chardonnays and back vintage Pinot Noir and the Pinot Gris. But I'm really excited to feature for the very first time Solvero wine from Summerland here in the Okanagan Valley. So that's a little bit of my top wines of that crafted in BC Marathon. My high leverage point here was a little bit to see stylistically, I definitely could notice a lower level of acidity in the wines. We are lucky here in the Okanagan to have that tremendous diurnal shift. So the high temperature of the day and the very low temperature at night preserve the natural acidity in the grapes. And I mean, it's much warmer down there, especially down south of the states where the most of the AVAs are, like Yakima Valley, like the Columbia Gorge, like the Rattlesnake AVA, also the Walluk Slope. So these AVAs are much warmer, and it's much warmer at night. So the acid level were not as pronounced, and it was especially more evident in the Pinot Gris and also in the Sauvignon Blanc. I had lots of Sauvignon Blanc, maybe 10 Sauvignon Blanc in the lineup. And it's one of the great varietals who was the most obvious. So the acid level was not as high. So this one of my take. Stylistically, wines are a little bit more fruitier, a little bit more approachable, not as crunchy. But I mean, all in all, these were all. There is no bad wines in there, none.
No.
Uh,
No.
it was
There's
fun
nothing
to
you had to
do
say,
it.
I can't comment. There might be, no, they were all really, really well done. Really great wines.
Yeah, so great job across the board. And I don't know, it might be a six-pack mystery pack available coming up soon, maybe.
Maybe. And you know what else? I'm just looking at here. You were talking about the diurnal shift. And I have a note here that says actually the Horse Heaven Hills is high elevation above the Columbia River, and there's a big diurnal shift there, which is interesting. So I'm loving learning more about these new appellations. They were so foreign to me when we first looked at this map, and then having tasted wines from so many of these areas that were made in BC, it's interesting, to learn a little bit more about that. So Horse Heaven Hills, down at the south there, apparently there is a big diurnal shift. So we're going to get probably a little bit more of that Okanagan.
No, but Mira, yeah, there's a big diurnal, but not as big as we have.
Right.
Right? And it's much warmer down there. So like you kind of raise it, and I mean, that's where like Horsehaven Hills is where like there's most Cabernet Sauvignon in Washington State, and that's one of the reasons. And it's a good point, Mira, that the diurnal shift preserved the acidity in the Cabernet Sauvignon from Horsehaven Hill, and that's why the Cab from Washington State are becoming as popular almost as Napa Valley, because they're getting so much better than they were, and the acidity level is still pretty high. But for us in the Okanagan, we have the quintessential acid, and so for me, it was noticeable.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Having only tasted thousands and thousands of Canadian wine from small boutique amazing wineries for the last 5 years of my life, I can agree with you. I definitely tasted a difference, but they were all very good. So
absolutely. Yeah. And it's time to keep supporting our winemakers, our wineries here from BC. These wines are worth trying, are worth experiencing, and are worth, like, they are awesome.
Absolutely. Okay, last thing, a 60-second blind taste. So if you stayed with us this long, thank you. You're amazing. And let's see if Carl can guess this wine. So I poured it for you a good hour and a half ago when we started this live. The bubbles are probably gone. Maybe you can remember what you tasted at the beginning. You have a wine.
But is it a wine?
So the first thing he says to me is this a wine or is it like a cider, Mira? Because look at the color. Hey?
But when I taste it, it might be Piquette though.
It's kind of sort of similar idea as Piquette, but I do think it's considered a wine.
So well, that's something like an ancestral or like natural wine, that's for sure. It's very wild. It tastes like wildflower. It tastes like wildflower, peach, apricot, marmalade. The bubbles are fun, but it's definitely spontaneous, like ancestral. Oh yeah, it's wild. It's wild. What's in there?
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you. So first of all, when I poured it, it was not this cloudy. And when I poured it, I disturbed the lees that are sitting in the bottom of the bottle. The yeast poop is still in there, which you like if you're a wine nerd like us, because it gives the wine this extra flavor and nuttiness, and it's really interesting. But as soon as I poured the first couple glasses, it got pretty darn cloudy. Like you cannot see through this bottle, can you? So that's one thing. And Carl even questioned, is it a Piquette or a wine? It is, I think, a wine, fully on. but it's a Pétillant Naturel. So it's very, very natural sparkling wine.
And which grape is that? Is there Gewürztraminer in there or Pinot Gris? What's in there?
That's very good question. So I have to check if it says on the bottle. So interesting. Low alcohol, 10.1%, unfined, unfiltered, bottled with the lees. It's very, very natural. There's probably very little sulfur in there, just like the bare minimum for the legal requirements. So that's why they say drink young, chill, be gentle. You don't want to shake it up like I did, because Carl came downstairs and I'm trying to hide the bottle, and that's when it got all mixed up. I'm like, shit, hide the bottle. But that's when then all these leaves, you can see them moving around. That's when they made it very cloudy. So you have to be super gentle with that pet nat. Let me check. So 2022 pet nat from Trail Estate Winery. Yes, because they're being featured in the masterclass, and they sent us a bunch of their wines to try, which we're very excited about. So let's see what
this
varietal.
is good though. This is fun. I like tasting that.
What are you guessing for that varietal?
I guess that I think there's a bit of Gewürztraminer. Maybe some Pinot Gris. Is there maybe a splash of Chardonnay in there?
Yeah, well, you're along the lines with Gewürztraminer. I feel like sometimes, especially in natural wine, Gewürz and Riesling are similar. So it's actually, assuming their tasting notes are up to date on their website, it's 60% Riesling and 40% Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they were hand stemmed, fermented naturally for 8 days, carbonic, before being pressed. So that's fun. Later harvested the Riesling, which was fermented on its skins for 6 days before pressing. Blended with Sauv Blanc and fermented under temperature control until the desired sugar level was reached. And
yeah, that's fun, actually. It's kind of fun. I like that. I would give that the 90 points, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so it's true. Like they say, they get like tastes of candy apples, sweet perfume. It's really interesting, and mild acidity with flavors of a Normandy cider. So you totally guessed that as well.
Yeah.
Where you said, is this a cider or wine? And you're right. Like,
there was a lot of apples. There was a lot of apple on the nose at first. So
yeah, so super interesting wine. I like that they list their grower. They list like a lot of vineyard stuff. So these are true wine nerds. We like them. And they do make natural wine, which sometimes can be a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes can be a little too weird. But so far what we've tasted has been really quite delicious. So
yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Mira. I think we went around. I think we did it.
Oh, yeah,
it's 6:35. So yeah, it was a fun show. Thanks to Marcel for joining us. Thanks to Suan. Thanks for sharing a bottle of 2018 Chestnut Tree Cabernet Franc with us. Fantastic wines. I love the curve and the development. Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Mira Boucher,
Carl Boucher, cheers.
See you next time.